Good morning guys and welcome to New York City. I am currently on the Upper East Side, more specifically on 5th Avenue here. Central Park is right over there, and yeah, now I'm gonna go on a little walking tour. So come and join me. This right here is the famous Guggenheim Museum, designed by a man called Frank Lloyd Wright and built in 1959. Very striking building there. Right, we are now inside the world famous Central Park here, and I thought that this would be a good place to start the walking tour. Now, before starting the tour properly, I actually wanted to explain a few things, chief among which the fact that I am a bit under the weather. And the reason is that I caught a pretty nasty cold here because of the American AC culture. The AC is always blasting inside the buildings, even though we are in early November now and it is quite cold outside, but inside the buildings it is even colder. So yeah, I have a bit of a sore throat. I think that you can probably hear that in my voice. Here we have a road going through Central Park, and yeah, this park is actually so massive that you have a road going through and also buses. Now, I also wanted to explain the reason why I am in New York in the first place. I came here 5 days ago to visit relatives. I actually have family members living on the Upper East Side, so not too far away from here. And so I spent the last 4 days just taking in the sights of New York City, of which there are many of course, but I didn't film because I was with my family. Now here we have a really nice viewpoint, and I really like these super tall, super slender skyscrapers. I think that this one is called 432 Park Avenue, and the other two I'm not sure about them. So today is Monday and I got here on Wednesday evening, and on Thursday I went to see the Hudson Yards neighborhood. Really cool area. I also went to the top of the Edge observation deck, which is one of the best observation decks in NYC, and it only cost $40, which is the cheapest observation deck that I could find. And it's not cheap of course, but we are in New York City. So I am now on 7th Avenue, which is located on the western side of Central Park here, and this is 64th Street. And I think that I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but my initial plan was to walk from Central Park to Times Square, which is about a 1 hour walk. So let's see. I might be too tired and just take the metro, but we'll find out. This is actually Trump Tower, I think. I am not sure, but I have seen it on TV before. And yeah, this is Columbus Circus, Central Park over there. A few incredible skyscrapers. And being careful not to get hit by a bicycle here. So as I was saying, Thursday Hudson Yards, and then Friday I went to Brooklyn, took a ferry, which was amazing. So yeah, if you take a ferry on the East River to Brooklyn, you get some pretty nice views of Manhattan. The city of New York and Manhattan here are of course organized in blocks. So it is very easy to find your way because you can only go 4 directions. You can either go east, south, west or north, and yeah, it is very hard to get lost here, but the distances are absolutely huge. And I've been walking for more than an hour now and I haven't covered that much actually, but that is the fun of it because there is something to see here at every corner. It is just amazing to walk around here. Now, another thing that I have to mention as I am walking past this shop here is that this entire city smells like a wheat plantation. I am not kidding you. So as far as I can tell, weed is legal, but you can't smoke anywhere inside. So people are just smoking on the street, which is why the smell is so omnipresent. Now it is getting very crowded here. This is 7th Avenue, I think. So yeah, Friday Brooklyn, and then Saturday we went to several museums, notably the Neue Galerie, which has German and Austrian art, and then the Met, which is one of the best museums I've ever been to. They have everything from Greek and Roman sculptures to Picasso, Van Gogh, Native American art. There is nothing that you won't find inside the Met. Absolutely incredible place, and definitely not to miss if you are in New York City. Now I am at West 51st Street, and I am not actually sure where Times Square is, but should be very close. Back to the Future. This place is way more touristy as well than the other parts that I showed in the video. So yeah, then Saturday evening went out to some bars, and Sunday we went to see a musical. It was Neil Diamond, somewhere around here on Broadway, but to be honest, I was just following my family members. So yeah, I am walking here for the first time by myself. I don't really know where I'm going, but we will find Times Square eventually. And here we are, Times Square. My word, this place is full of people selling you stuff, but it is very iconic. It's really the image that a lot of people have of New York, even though it's obviously just one square. Walking on Times Square now. This is actually my first time here. I've never been to this square before, and now I know why. It is a bit too crowded for my liking, but yeah, that is Times Square. I mean, what do you expect? This is one of the most famous places in the world. This right here is 6th Avenue, or Avenue of the Americas, an astonishing road. Have a look at this concrete canyon. Now let's continue a little bit. So yeah, New York is one of the most expensive cities on the planet, but I guess you already knew that. So I'm just gonna give you some examples of prices here. I have a huge advantage, which is that I don't have to pay for a hotel because I am staying with relatives. But I was checking out hotels just to see what they cost, and $200 a night is the lower end of the scale. You might be able to find something for $200 a night, but it won't be easy. And then hostel dorms, maybe 70, 80, 90, 100, but most hotels are between $250 and $300 a night, and those are budget hotels, mind you. You can obviously go way higher than that, 500, 600 or 10,000, whatever your budget allows. Right, we are now at Grand Central Terminal, which is this building over there, and that is the main train station here. And yeah, as I was saying, food isn't cheap either. You can get a slice of pizza for $5 or a hot dog, but that's about it. So whenever you go to a restaurant, you'll have to pay $20, $30, $40 a meal without tax and tip. And those are not expensive restaurants, mind you. Now, I also wanted to mention a few things that I like about New York and a few things that I don't like so much. On a positive note, the cultural offer here is simply limitless. You could spend months here just going to museums, shows, theater, concerts, and so on. So yeah, the culture here is amazing. One of the best cities in the world for culture. Now, another thing that I really like about New York is just how multicultural and diverse it is. This is really the world in one city. No matter which country you're thinking about, you'll have a community here, and you can eat authentic food, go to cultural events, and so on. So yeah, the diversity here is another thing that I really like. Another thing that I really like is just walking here. This is one of very few places in America where you can actually walk and get somewhere. Even though the distances here are huge, Manhattan is quite a large island, much bigger than it looks on a map, but still, you can do quite a lot by walking here. So yeah, you can walk, but it's gonna take you a long time to get from A to B, but you are going to discover stuff along the way, and that's what I love. Now, the faster way to get around is actually my first negative point, and that is the subway. So how do I put this? Well, the New York subway is terrible. I have been to a lot of developing countries around the world, and most of them have way better subway systems than New York City here. I took the subway 7 times during my 5 days here, and it broke down twice. Once I had to wait for 40 minutes to get the next one, and the second time it simply didn't continue, so I had to walk or take a taxi, which is obviously not cheap. So yeah, it is not very reliable, and it is also pretty filthy, and there are quite a few rats. And finally, at night, it isn't the safest place to be. Apart from the subway, I have to say that everybody is in such a rush here. You can barely sit down and drink a coffee without somebody telling you to vacate the area so that the next customer can come. But that is kind of the same as in London or Paris or other big cities around the world. So that's not something shocking. But yeah, I didn't find people here rude or unfriendly, which is kind of a cliche, I guess. At this point, I was completely wiped out and really tired, also from the cold that I had caught, and that's why I decided to call it a day. And for those who are interested, I walked 12 kilometers on that day, which is about 7.4 miles. And yeah, it was fascinating because you discover something at every turn. So let me know what you guys think about the Big Apple. As always, thanks very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.